Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on our ISTQB Agile Tester certification sample questions. And today we shall be continuing with our chapter 1 itself, as it has a lot of questions for you to be asked right from the chapter. And today we shall get started with our next question, which is question number 7. So let's have a look what we have for you. So the question number 7 is about match the following, and here it becomes really important for team members to be most aware of the content which is written in the syllabus, right? Because here it is more of like remember rather than justifying themselves, because all we have to do is match the following, and it's very to the point and critical to remember from the content itself. So let's see what exactly the question is all about. Match the following agile software development approaches on the top with their responding descriptions on the bottom. So basically it's left and right, which I have arranged because it becomes very small and tiny to read them. So we just arrange it side by side. So we have numbers 1, 2, 3 talking about 3 different approaches, that is extreme programming, Scrum, and Kanban. And on to the right, we have the Roman 3 numbers. 1 talking about the 5 values of guided development, divides the project into short iteration called sprint, and third optimizes the flow of work in a value-added chain. So I think even if you have a consolidated understanding what we have discussed in our tutorials, that would be more than enough. And we do remember that there are some ethics, but there are some understanding of each of these methodologies and approaches used in Agile. So extreme programming generally comes with the 5 guided development values, which is communication, simplicity, feedback, courage, and respect. Whereas when it comes to Scrum, it divides the project into short iteration called as sprints. Sprints are something which is very unique with respect to Scrum and doesn't use itself in Kanban or extreme programming. Okay, so even if you start discriminating or start differentiating between that, what's unique about each of these methodologies, then you will be able to immediately come to the conclusion. Or start with one which you are 100% sure, like sprint. You know that Scrum is only the one which uses sprint. Kanban has work in progress limit, and extreme programming works on its core values. So that's where you get the hint to get to the right answer, right? And the Kanban certainly goes to the 3, optimizes the flow of work in a value-added chain because it's consistent throughout the releases. But yes, we do control them with a unique parameter called as WIP limit, which is work in progress limit. So in that context put together, the right answer here is B. 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 2, and 3 goes to 3. So it's very important for you to remember very straightforward definitions and pointers mentioned in these approaches to come to the right answer immediately. Well, moving on to the next question, what we have here for you is question number 8, and that talks about a small passage. So let's read it and start understanding how to deal with a passage-based question from this certification. So it says, during an iteration planning meeting, that means we are talking about sprint planning meeting, the team is sharing their thoughts about a user story. Of course, during sprint planning, a PO starts explaining about a story to the team, and team is returning back with their thoughts and questions and queries whatsoever they may have. The product owner advises that the customer should have one screen to enter information. The developer explains that there are technical limitation for the feature due to the amount of information needed to be captured on the screen. Another developer says, now both are developer, okay? So just keep these key information highlighted, that what the PO is trying to do. PO is always going to recommend what the customer wants to see on the application. Developers are sharing their challenges with technical limitation on the feature due to the number of information what they want to capture. And another developer on the same note says that there are risks about performance as the information will be stored in an external offsite database. So if you see right now, developers have put their view on 2 things. One is technical limitation, and second is the performance parameter because of the external offsite database. Now, which of the following would best represent a tester's contribution to this discussion? So all you have to think is, before looking at the options, think that being a tester, what would you do in this situation, right? That would give you at least a flavor of that, okay, in general, this is what I'm supposed to do at this point of time. And then we can look at the option. You will be double sure with your right answer. right? Because we just don't want to play around with the options. Sometimes these kind of questions have very tricky options and may take you on a merry-go-round where you will be thinking which one is the right answer. Okay, so let's keep an eye on each of these options and see what could be the best thing for us. Option A, the tester advises that the screen for the user story needs to be a single page to reduce the test automation effort. Now that looks absolutely fine, right? People may think that, yeah, what's wrong in that option? But if we talk about the tester's advice here, right, they're trying to put everything in a single page, and tester basically should participate in all aspects of this discussion, because they are going to there will be someone who will be trying to test the system and not just kind to listen to their conversation. So it is very important to consider the testability and automation, but designing the application based on limiting the testing effort may not be result in a suitable solution for the end user, right? So it's not more sort of something which is most important thing for us to talk about at this point about the automation. Automation is secondary. First is like, hey, can you implement it, right? They're talking about technical challenges to deal with and saying that performance can be poor, where they're telling you about the technical limitations. So testing is just not based on that, and it's not providing a solution if I talk about automation, right? Or if I just look forward to solve my problem, right? Indeed, it is going off the topic that, hey, you're just worried about automation, and we are not talking about that right now. We're talking about can be implemented or not. So deep dive into an option to make sure that are you really talking about that context, what is going on right now? Because in that to be frank, all the four options will be right in one or the other situation. So you have to be driven by the passage provided to you, right? So automation is not a constraint at this point of time. B, the tester advises that usability is more important than performance. I think you don't need me to tell you that this is a wrong opinion at this point of time. The product owner generally is the one who prioritizes the various quality characteristics, that what is more important for the customer or from the point of deliverable. So we as a tester have nothing to determine that what is more important than other one. So this is completely a vague statement that I cannot just say that usability is more important than performance blindly. So we will ask the customer what is more important for them. Is that performance or usability? They will determine the priority of that, and based on that, we will just perform the activities. Talking about the option C, the tester advises that performance acceptance criteria should standard maximum of 1 second for data storage. And now that's again something which is very, very hard coded, right? You just can't blindly say that everything should be less than 1 second and then we improve the performance. Now, you do understand that there are no such applications today which really works less than 1 second, right? It may take, depending on the situation and depending on the amount of data, depending on the activity you're performing, it may take more than one, but yeah, probably 2-3 seconds. But yeah, but not exactly one. It's not mandatory, right? So the performance acceptance criteria would normally be determined by the product owner again. So we are not something who are defining the SLAs as an acceptance criteria. And the customer will tell you what exactly they want to see in the performance, and based on that, PO will address you that how exactly we want the expectations to be fulfilled. So we just perform the test and meet the goals. We don't define the goals for the customer. Okay, keep in mind that, and that would help you to rule out the options. And the last but not the least, we are just left with that option, then seems like that is one which is the best. The tester advises that the user story needs acceptance criteria to be testable. Exactly. At this point of time, no matter what your challenges are, my common contribution could be to say that no matter what you do, whether you deal with it or not, but I need a clear acceptance criteria which is testable. So yes, a tester generally contributes by ensuring that the team creates acceptance criteria for the user story, which is the most relevant thing at the time of user story discussions. Okay, you may say that, hey, isn't that D is also off the topic in that context? Answer is no. You're talking about user story discussions, and a tester is mostly worried about not the technical glitches, not what the customer wants. They are really bothered about, do we have a clear testable acceptance criteria? And that's where this becomes the most important and relevant, advice from the tester's contribution to this particular discussion, which is user story discussion, right? So put together, the right answer here is D, the tester advises that the user story needs acceptance criteria to be testable so that all they need is fulfilled and they can perform the required activities to accomplish the task. Well, moving on to the next question for the day is question number 9. Here it says, which of the following best describes a tester's participation in a retrospective meeting? Now, we all know what is retrospective meeting, where we gather together and contribute with what should we start doing, what we should stop doing, and what we should continue doing, etc., and help each other to understand how the process can be improvised. So all we are trying to understand that what a tester should be doing. And again, the word best, right? Whenever you see this word in a question, all you have to worry about is there may be partially correct answers in all the 4 options. You need to pick up one which is the best, like which talks makes sense completely in any situation, right? So there may be partially correct answers. That's why they use the word best in the question, that hey, don't get carried away by partially right answers. Okay, so justify them word by word. So moving on to the very first option, as a tester participating in retrospective meeting, I should bring in topics that are related to testing only. All other topics will be covered by different participation. Don't forget that the Agile is all about whole team approach, and we are just not limited to testing. We can talk about what is development doing. We can talk about how design is impacting you. We can talk about if development can be better, the testing will find less defects, and we can be fast and sort of thing. So you are free to contribute about anything in the process, not just limited to testing. So yes, testers should participate in all aspects of retrospective meeting. B, as a tester, I participate in a retrospective meeting as an observer, ensuring that the meeting follows the retrospective rules and agile values. I think for that you have Scrum Master to do that job, right? Your job is to have an active participation, to contribute and make impact, but not to be a controller or facilitator of the event, right? For that we have Scrum Master to do that job. So indeed this is another wrong answer, which is not what we should be doing. Looking at option C, as a tester participating in a retrospective meeting, I should provide feedback and input on all activities conducted by the team during the sprint. Exactly. That is what we are expecting from you. Being a test engineer, you're not limited to just testing. When it comes to retrospective, right? In retrospective, you are free to share any of your thoughts which you think the team should take care of in order to do better. And that's where the feedback and input on all activities conducted by the team during the sprint should be considered here. But before we make any decisions, let's look at D as well. The D says, as a tester, I should only attend and participate in a retrospective meeting if I have any feedback and input related to activities conducted by the team during the sprint. Look at this. If I just compare C and D, it says, hey, you should do that. That's good. But you should participate only if you have one feedback or a feedback for that. Or if you don't have feedback, it's optional to join. No. You know that, right? You don't need me to tell you that, boss, that's not something correct, right? Even if you don't have a feedback, indeed, you have to be an active participant there, because you never know what people are trying to make, where you can at least share your thoughts on that. Sometimes you may not have exactly something to, add value, which is not correct again. But if people are talking about something, they may need your perception as a tester that, what do you think about this, right? Can we do this or not? So it's not that if you don't have a feedback, you should not join. Attendance is mandatory for your participations and contributions, and equally for adding your perspective. So testers can learn valuable information from the retrospective meeting to apply in subsequent iterations what others talk about, right? So in that context, your attendance is not optional. So put together, the right answer here is C. As a tester participating in a retrospective meeting, I should provide feedback and input on all activities conducted by the team during the sprint. Okay, so we just covered 3 more questions from this chapter, and we would have some more in the next tutorial. So that's all from this particular tutorial team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video, team, and happy learning.